Good evening and welcome to the online campus of Good Shepherd Church. Good evening, Good Shepherd. Tonight's lineup includes Understanding the Origins of Halloween. Father Sullivan takes us to the rectory kitchen to make soul cakes. Music by John and Joreen Kelly. And Stump the Priest question and answer. I'm Helen Canis, and here are your hosts, Father Neil Sullivan, Deb Salden, and Brian Pritchard. Good evening.
Good evening, Helen. Good evening, Good Shepherd. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're with us today for our Halloween show, and I want to welcome my new co-hosts. Our new co-hosts are Brian Pritchard, our parish manager, and Deb Salden, our director of family ministry. So welcome, Brian and Deb.
Thank you, Father.
Hello, everyone.
So, Brian, you're on this side of the table now.
I know, it's a little weird.
A little weird?
Yeah,
A little weird?
Yeah.
And Deb, you're no stranger to this set. So
Here, walked across the parking lot again.
there we go. We're here in our rectory studio to prepare for our Halloween show. A great show. So we're really excited about our show tonight. Some interesting things, a little different. We've shaken it up a little bit. A new format, a new set design, and everything. So we are ready to rock and roll, as they say here. So, Brian, how's your week going?
Week's going good.
Week's going good?
Week is going good. All done moving.
All done moving?
All done moving.
Finally,
yeah,
wow.
It was like 2 months of talk, right?
Good feeling, huh?
Yeah, it's going good.
Just in time, you're done moving just in time to move Father Miller out, huh?
Exactly, yeah. And a lot going on here.
A lot going on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we
Never stops.
Never stops here.
Never
Always
stops.
something good happening at Good Shepherd.
Yes.
Deb, how was your week?
The week was a little crazy. Grandson's out of the hospital, but everybody's doing well now. So thanks
Good.
for all the prayers.
That's wonderful. Thank God. And keep the prayers coming. Keep the prayers coming. Exactly. So we are in this week of Halloween, and this past Sunday we had our first annual Trunk or Treat event, and it was really spectacular.
Did it go good?
Oh my gosh, people are troopers here, because of course it was supposed to be 60 degrees and dry, and it was like 55 degrees and raining, and they were just troopers. Exactly. What do you expect? We make it work here. We make it work. And so we had about 13 trunks. It was really great. And they were all very creative. And a lot of kids came through those 2 hours. And it was good to see so many people. And just a really great afternoon and a lot of fun. But we had some winners for the best trunk, the best treat, and the best boy costume, and the best girl costume.
Can't wait to hear.
So the best trunk went to the lobster trunk, and look at this wonderful family. They have they're like cooking lobster, and they have a little girl, and she is in the lobster pot, or they say in New England, lobster pot. That was great, so creative, and they were so fun, and she was so good. She was fine in those pictures, and she was in that pot most of the afternoon. It was crazy.
Probably the warmest kid out there.
Probably the warmest kid out there, yeah. And then the best treat goes to this family, and they did a Starbucks theme, and I love their sign that says, Jesus loves you a latte. And so that was pretty cool. And they gave out kind of like coffee cups, but they were filled with candy.
That is so creative.
Very creative. And then we had our best boy costume, which is a Philadelphia Eagle. Pretty sharp there. And then our best girl costume, which is this kind of purple centipede, this little one. She's so sweet, isn't she? She's beautiful. Wow.
Very
Purpley on our black what do you call that? Parking lot. That's what we call that. There we go. Very good. Very good. We've got to ask Helen, how's your week going?
Great.
Going good?
Yes.
Going good. Good, excellent. So we've got a packed show for you tonight. We have a little history and information about the Christian view of Halloween, what that means. Deb's going to give us a little history about that. We might call that segment Doctrine with Deb.
Okay.
I love a good title. And then we're going to go into the rectory kitchen, and Brian's going to film me making soul cakes, and we'll explain what they are.
That's right, and taste test.
And taste test. And taste test. And then we actually have a musical segment tonight, too, with John and Doreen Kelly. And then we'll come back for Stump the Priest. And it's one priest now, so I got to think of all the answers. All right, so take it away, Deb.
Alrighty. So the origins of Halloween date back to 2,000 years ago to the ancient Celtic festival that was called Samhain. And the word looks a little bit different than that, but it is pronounced Samhain. And the Celtics lived in present-day Ireland, the UK, and northern France. And the Celtics celebrated their New Year's on November 1st, which marked the end of summer, the harvest, and the beginning of the dark, cold winter. And that time of year was also associated with human death. So the night before their New Year's, the boundary line between the living and the dead became sort of blurry for them. And as a result, they celebrated this Samhain holiday, believing that the ghost of the dead actually returned to Earth. So during this celebration, sacrifices were offered, and the Druid priests would build a ginormous, a very huge bonfire where they would offer these sacrifices because the ghosts came back to damage crops and cause other troubles. The Druid priests they also believed that they could communicate with the spirits and foretell or give fortunes for the people in the village. So when the celebration was over, then the people in the village would take the fire and bring it back to their home, light their hearth fires again, and this was supposed to actually protect them during the coming winter. So by the year 43 AD, just 10 years after Jesus was here on earth, the Roman Empire came north and conquered this territory. And they incorporated some of their Roman traditions into the Celtic festivals. And we see this with the Roman goddess Pomona. And she was the goddess of fruits and trees, and her symbol was the apple. And this is probably where we get bobbing for apples in the fall.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting. So,
No bobbing for apples this year, though, folks.
Yeah, COVID, during COVID. By May 13th, and May 13th is a big Marian day for us. May 13th of 609, Pope Boniface IV dedicated the Roman Pantheon to the Virgin Mary and all Christian martyrs. Not long after, this feast of the martyrs was moved to November 1st. So this is where we get the tie-in with Halloween and All Saints Day. Yes. So then eventually in the year 1000 AD, right around that time period, All Souls Day was then created by the church, made by the church to honor all the dead who weren't yet in heaven. So then the word Halloween, hallowed meaning holy, Halloween comes from the eve of all the holy people. All saints being the holy people, we celebrate the eve of all the holy people on Halloween. So this Halloween and All Saints Day are connected. All Saints Day being the day the church created and moved to kind of take the place of this pagan festival. So that's kind of where we get Halloween from. So then question for you, why do we dress up in costumes on Halloween?
Because it's fun. I don't know.
Yeah. It's totally, it's fun.
Because I get to be a lobster.
Be a lobster. Yeah.
Well, people dressed up in costumes because they believed that these ghosts were coming around.
Wow.
They were coming around, and they wore the masks so that they wouldn't be mistaken for the dead. So did you ever see that movie Coco, the Disney movie Coco?
No.
Okay.
I guess I'll be watching that later tonight.
Yes, right now you want to watch Coco because Coco goes into this whole idea of the night of the dead and the people not having the ability to cross over, and everybody paints their face so they're not mistaken for a soul that hasn't crossed over yet. So why do we put bowls of candy out?
For the souls that are going for a little treat on the way to heaven.
Kind of it. These were pagans, so they put out
Oh.
their bowls of food and ale for these ghosts that were wandering around because they wanted to make them happy so they wouldn't try to get in their homes.
Okay.
And then they would put out lanterns to guide them on the right
Like
path.
jack-o'-lanterns.
Jack-o'-lanterns.
Okay.
Exactly. And then why do we avoid black cats?
I don't know. Do you know?
Not bad luck.
Because, and this is actually goes to the Middle Ages. People in the Middle Ages thought that witches changed themselves into black cats.
Oh,
to
yeah.
avoid avoid detection. So that's why they are avoided.
Interesting.
And then why do we go trick or treating?
We go trick or treating because this is after the holiday was Christianized and they began to kind of, we call it really evangelization, of taking these things and giving them a way to express their Christian faith. They would trick or treat. What they would go to do would be knock on people's doors. And because this is the night before All Saints' Day, the saints of all those who have died and gone to heaven, they would go and kids would go knock on doors and they would ask for a soul cake, soul, S-O-U-L, cake, in order to pay, and they would, for in exchange for that soul cake, they would pray for the persons in that house who had died in their family, that they would go to heaven. So soul cakes are what kind of the origin of this trick-or-treating and praying for those who have died, that they would go to heaven on All Saints' Day. So in our rectory kitchen today, we're going to show you how to make soul cakes. Here we go. Hello everybody and welcome to the Rectory Kitchen, and today we're going to attempt to make soul cakes. As we talked before, soul cakes were those treats, kind of the origin of trick-or-treating, when kids would go to people's houses and promise to pray for the deceased of that house, and in turn they'd get a soul cake. So a soul cake kind of is like a biscuit, a cross between a cookie and a scone, a little kind of taste of Irish soda bread a little bit, but it's pretty simple to make, and so we're going to try it today. So the ingredients that you need are, you need 3.5 cups of flour, 3/4 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of unsalted butter at room temperature. We'll need 3 egg yolks, 3/4 cup of currants, and then a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of nutmeg. You're going to also need a little bit of milk. I'm going to say maybe a 1/2 cup, but it kind of depends on how the batter is and how thick and how much you want the batter to be pliable. You kind of have to play that by ear and eyeball that a little bit. And then some 10x sugar, some confectionery sugar, to sprinkle on top when they're finished. So we're going to preheat the oven to 375 to start with, and then we're going to first put together our butter, our sugar, and then add the egg yolk. So believe me, this is the first time that we're ever doing something like this on our Good Shepherd show. So you are watching history as it unfolds before our eyes. And I'm very grateful to Brian behind the camera, who's going to edit out all the mistakes. So we're going to first mix together our butter and sugar. This is the best part, the butter and the sugar. It's like icing.
I know.
It's the best part. And then we're going to add in our egg yolks. You're supposed to do them one at a time. Well, we're doing them 3 at a time for the Trinity.
Yeah.
3 in 1.
Why one at a time, right?
Yeah, 1 at a time.
And you're supposed to do it while it's stirring?
Exactly.
Okay.
It kind of makes it all. Okay. And then we're going to, once you have that all creamed up into a luscious goodness, we're going to add then the flour to our mixture. That's 3.5 cups of flour. This is going to be hard to do. We'll see if I can do this without making a mess. Not too bad.
It's pretty good.
Not too bad. I'm going to also
Very good.
add then the 3/4 cup of currants. I don't really know what a currant is, like a baby raisin.
It looks like baby raisins, yeah.
I remember as a kid thinking they were chocolate chips, and boy was I surprised when I tasted them. But they're good, and they're chewy, and they're gooey, and they're really very, very good. So we're going to mix that up, as well as our a teaspoon of nutmeg and a teaspoon of cinnamon that go in here too. Kind of gives it a nice fall flavor. This is where the milk comes in, because you want to be able to create a dough. And so simply start adding milk to it to get the dough consistency. What you want to end up with is something that looks like this. Can you see that?
Yep.
It reminds me of chocolate chip cookie dough, and it's really actually pretty good. So I'm going to turn this mixer off. What you're going to do then is to put the dough mixture that comes out of my pan, there we go, onto a floured counter or board, and then we're going to roll it out to about 1/4 of an inch of thickness. So let's see if this is going to work or not. Oh yeah, it's working. I'm going to have flour all over me. There must be a better way of doing this. But it's working. I am not a baker.
Want me to hold the block for you?
That might be good, Brian. Can you hold the block for me?
Yeah.
Teamwork here. Teamwork makes the dream work.
How's that, good?
That's very good. That is very, very good. It doesn't look like chocolate chip cookies,
Yeah, it does.
but they're even better than that. Well,
Never heard of these before.
I heard of them because when I used to work at the Dawson Center, we had a woman, her name was Stella Kitchen. She's since gone home to God, but she was from England. She was Irish living in England, and she made these one time for Halloween. That's where I first learned about them. Take a cookie cutter then, okay, and cut out like you're making almost biscuits. And you put them, I'm using parchment. You could use a floured and buttered tray, but the parchment works out easy. It's so much easier to clean up too. And so typically this recipe, depending on how thick it is and how big your cookie cutter is, will yield about 12 of these soul cakes. Now, there's one final thing to do before you put them in the oven. And that is, I'm going to grab a knife over here, is to cut across on the top of them. So,
Break them in half, or?
well, it's kind of like the cross to make them holy. You're blessing
Oh.
them. But it also is really easy to break them in half or quarters if you just want to taste.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool how they that cross then kind of puffs up.
Yeah.
They're not going to get really big. They're going to probably stay the same size, but they're that sense almost like a biscuit. So you put them in the oven. It's between 10 and 15 minutes at 375. And when they're done, they're going to come out something like this through the magic
Look at that.
television. And let me close this door. And then you finish them off with some powdered sugar, just like this is the best part. But they're moist, they're chewy, they're gooey, and they are delicious, and they're called soul cakes, the origin of Halloween trick-or-treating.
They look good.
You may not know there's also a song about soul cakes, and it was recorded by many people. It's really an ancient English tune, and Peter, Paul, and Mary recorded it, and Sting recorded it, and our very own John and Doreen Kelly have also recorded it for us to hear tonight. So here are Doreen and John Kelly
with a soul in. Yet shall we be merry. Nobody home. Hey ho, nobody home. Meat nor drink nor money have I none. Yet shall we be merry. Hey ho, nobody home. Hey ho, nobody home. Soul, soul, soul cake. Please goodness is a soul cake. Apple, pear, plum, a cherry. Any good thing to make us all merry. One for Peter, two for Paul, three for him who made us all. God bless the master of this house and the mistress also, and all the little children that round your table grow, the cattle in your stable, the dog by your front door, and all that dwell within your gates. We wish you 10 times more. Soul, soul, soul cake. Please goodness is a soul cake. Apple, a pear, a plum, a cherry. Any good thing to make us all merry. Any old thing to make us all merry. One for him who made us all. Three for him who made us all. Go down into the cellar to see what you can find. The barrels are not empty. We hope you will be kind. We hope you will be kind with your apple and strawberry. For will come no more soul till this time next year. Soul, soul, soul cake. Please goodness is a soul cake. Apple, pear, plum, a cherry. Any good thing to make us all merry. Any old thing to make us all merry. Three for him who made us all. Three for him who made us all. The streets are very dirty. My shoes are very thin. I have a little pocket to put a penny in. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, well, God bless you. Soul, soul cake. Please goodness is a soul cake. Apple, a pear, a plum, a cherry. Any good thing to make us all merry. Any old thing to make us merry. One for him who made us all. One for him who made us all.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
It is incredible.
Wow.
The kitchen, the soul cakes are awesome.
They
John
are.
and Doreen are awesome.
Yeah.
They're such a good duo. What a beautiful voice John has, though.
Exactly. Too.
I
So
never hear him sing that much.
so soothing.
Hands
Yeah,
down.
yeah, absolutely. And when they sing together, it's amazing.
It is.
You can kind of like feel the love, you know.
Yeah.
You can feel the love.
And the soul cakes, I love them.
You love them?
Yes, they're
They're
very
good.
good. They're moist.
They're wonderful. Have
Yeah.
them with a cup of coffee.
Have a cup
Yeah,
of coffee,
yeah,
cup of tea, 4 o'clock tea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. They're good, and they're chewy with all those currants in them. I kind of put a little more currants than they call for because it makes it a little more ooey gooey.
It's your touch.
Yeah, special.
Are those raisins? Like little
I think
raisins? Do you
I don't know what
Yeah.
currants are.
We'll have to look that up.
Go ahead,
I
what
thought they
currants
were
are
like
Helen?
dates,
Are they dates?
dried.
They're tiny.
Did you cut them up?
No, they're little.
They come like that?
Yeah.
No.
They look little
Every
chocolate
day.
chips, or
Are they like
Yeah.
grapes
They're good.
dried out?
there might be like
They're
tiny
raisin.
grapes. I don't know. Interesting though. But so yeah, that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Thank you.
So Helen, what time is it?
It's time to stump the priest.
And it's one priest that gets stumped now. But I'm going to ask Brian and Deb for help along the way. And I think our topic tonight, given that it's saints and things like that, and All Souls and Souls Cake is going to be patron saints. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And so, Father Sullivan, the first priest, or first saint, would be the patron saint of impossible things.
Impossible things. Oh my gosh.
Who is the patron saint of impossible
That
things?
would be St. Jude, whose feast day is tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
tomorrow.
interesting.
And tomorrow also is Deb's birthday.
Oh,
So happy birthday, Deb.
Thank you.
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Impossible things.
There you
You
go.
won't ask how old you're going to be.
No, let's not say we did.
Yeah.
And you have
Moving on.
And you have
Moving on.
you have a soul cake.
And you have a soul cake for your birthday. There you go.
All right, the patron saint of carpenters.
Oh, that's easy. Joseph, the father of Jesus. He is a carpenter. Yeah.
Okay. A patron saint for addicts. Patron saint of addicts.
Boy. Like addicts, like a person dealing with a substance addiction?
Yes.
Wow. I don't know. Deb, do you know?
I do know this one. And I know this one because actually one of my kids is named. I named one of my children. Maximilian Kolbe.
Maximilian Kolbe, the saint of
Wow.
Auschwitz.
Yes,
really?
because he was killed in Auschwitz by a lethal injection in his arm.
Wow. Oh my gosh, the imagery there. Wow, I did not know that. They stumped me.
Yep, stumped me too. I didn't know that. I'll remember that name though, Maximilian. Not one that you forget. The patron saint of communicators.
That would be St. Francis de Sales, because he was a prolific writer. And so he wrote a whole lot, so they call him the patron saint of communicators.
I didn't know that.
Learn something new right here at Good Evening, Good Shepherd.
The patron saint of writers. Writers.
Don't look at me. I don't know that one.
Writers. I would say maybe St. Jerome or St. Francis de Sales too. I'm not really sure about that one. But we will find out for you.
Homework. Yeah.
Homework.
She stumped you again?
Yeah, twice.
Wow.
I'm telling
This is
you.
the first.
Wait, I have one for Brian. Patron saint of Ireland.
No, it's easy. St. Patrick.
St. Patrick.
Yay!
No, but St. Patrick is a beautiful his St. Patrick's breastplate, Christ before me, Christ beside me, is more than just saying Christ be with me. Literally when Patrick did that, he was envisioning like a shield coming up around him of Jesus, all around over him. Pretty powerful. So whenever you're going to some place that's scary or spooky or challenging, that Christ be beside me, before me, behind me, above me, below me is really helpful. Wow, that brings us to the end of another great show with my new co-host. We hope you liked it. And so we're going to put the recipe for the soul cakes in the comment section below the video. I'll tell you a little story about my dear mother, God rest her, about recipes. So right now we're getting ready to announce our parent meetings for First Communion and all that. So it was a parent meeting for First Communion for me. So this is a long time ago. And my mother worked full time, and she did not have time, and she was on the list to bring refreshments. She had to bring brownies to the parent meeting for the reception. And so she stopped at a bakery to get some because she couldn't make them, and put them on a plate and brought them in. People thought she made them, and she didn't say she didn't make them. But then they asked for the recipe. So she just began to rattle off things. And people went home and tried it, and they said it didn't turn out the same as yours did. Oh, the joke was on them because they didn't. Until someone finally realized what happened was, what she had done, and went to that same bakery and brought them to her and said, I figured out the recipe. So we got a lot coming up in November here. So we have All Saints Day, which is actually on Sunday, so that's a great thing. So this Sunday we'll be celebrating All Saints Day. On Monday, the 2nd, is All Souls Day. And that's a special day to pray for all those who have died in getting ready to go to heaven and that are waiting in purgatory. And so on that day, we actually have 3 masses here at Good Shepherd. One at 8:30, one at 12 noon, and one then at 7 p.m. in the evening to give people a chance. It's a really important day to go in to pray for our beloved dead. It's also an important day sometimes where you can kind of really feel and ritualize and bring to God the grief and the pain that we have when we lose someone that we love. So that's on on Monday, November 2nd. And then, of course, on Tuesday, November 3rd is Election Day. We won't have a show next week, so we know you'll all be watching the returns and things like that. But we'll be back on November the 10th with a very special Veterans Day show. And we have a local veteran right here at our table. So, any final words, Helen?
November the 8th.
November 8th is Vespers for the Dead at 4 o'clock, and that's a beautiful thing as well, where we'll have praying for those who have died this past year at 4 o'clock, a very special prayer service everyone's invited to. Also, the weekend of October 14th and 15th, we're having Pack the Pickup, and so we're doing a food drive for local food banks. All you got to do is drop off canned goods and those type of things. Things in boxes we're asking you to put into plastic bags just because of the elements outside, and we're going to pack a pickup and then drive it right to the local food banks. And then we'll also be collecting gift cards this year for those who are in need of help for Thanksgiving, for the Thanksgiving dinner. So we're, instead of collecting food and trying to be a little smart when it comes to mitigation and social distancing, we're going to be able to collect gift cards for Giant, whatever grocery store you want to use, and we're able then to give them to the families in need, and they'll be able to go and shop for their Thanksgiving dinner. Keep everybody safe and sound.
Don't forget the next Friday night dinner.
And the Friday night dinner, which is Brian.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Woo-hoo!
Back again.
And sausage.
And sausage.
Covered them in.
Yeah, the spaghetti's back. We
Just
heard
in my
you.
mind, that's what I was gonna
We
talk
heard
about.
you. We heard you. We heard you. It's back.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's more than
It's the
good.
best one. That's good.
It's great.
It is
Yes.
good, isn't it?
It's great.
The meatballs.
Oh,
Exactly.
and rolled in the kitchen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Deb, any final words?
No, I think we're good.
We're good? Okay.
All right.
Brian, any final words?
Don't keep watching. Subscribe to YouTube. We're stuck on 340 subscribers.
Let's get it to 350.
Yeah.
Let's get
Let's
to
get that up there.
350.
Let's get it to
Yeah,
350.
Let's get to 350.
Oh my
Thanks
gosh.
for watching.
Thanks, God. No, we love you, and we're praying for you. Please pray for us. We're in this together. We're stronger together. So until we see each other soon, please
Be smart.
Be safe.
Be well.
be holy and
Be at peace.
Good night, everybody.
Have a
Good night.
Good night.